Check out this replay of TheShy playing Jace top into Gwen. Now the lane starts out like most melee vs range matchups do, with TheShy zoning off his opponent and stacking up a big wave with his range advantage. Now jumping ahead slightly to the arrival of the third minion wave, and this is where TheShy does something that goes against the fundamental rules that we know about wave management. Instead of nuking the wave and making a crash cleanly into the tower in a 3-wave crash, TheShy instead continues to slow push and times it so that the 3 waves he's stacked up crash into the tower at the exact same time as the 4th wave arrives, giving him a 3.5 wave crash. Now TheShy does this for several reasons. The first reason is because last hitting onto tower is already incredibly difficult to do when you're only level 2, but this is now made even more difficult for Gwen by the fact that her own newly arrived minions are competing with her for last hits. Now after clearing the melee minions, only the caster minions are left, but for Gwen, it's a completely impossible task to last hit them. Between her tower and her own minions griefing her last hits, as well as Jace threatening to poke her when she goes for them, she decides to give up all 6 minions to preserve her HP and her dignity. Now whilst effective, this 3.5 wave crash TheShy did wasn't even the perfect execution of this strategy, and he actually crashed the wave slightly too soon. The perfect execution involves having the newly arrived enemy minion wave actually block your creeps from going into the opponent's tower. This has the added benefit of making it so your wave comes to settle even further away from the tower, which as you can see makes it almost impossible for Garen to last hit even just a couple of minions without getting poked out for 90% of his health. Now I still haven't covered all of the benefits that there are to doing this strategy, and there are a ton of other things that you need to understand about the 3.5 wave crash if you want to pull it off effectively, as it is somewhat unorthodox and can be a double-edged sword if you don't do it correctly. So for today's video, we'll be focused on some advanced level wave management, mainly centered around this 3-wave crash, how this technique can apply and translate to all 3 lanes, as well as another special variation of the strategy that is a must-know for all of you mid laners out there.
My name's Rogue and I played League of Legends professionally for 7 years. Now I'm a full-time content creator and coach for all ranks Iron through to Challenger. So if you want more information of what a coaching session with me will look like, you can find more information by following the link in the video description below.
While you're in the description, you'll also find the link to my Patreon, where I post all of the recordings of my best coaching sessions in full. With collections sorted by role and rank, including sessions where I've coached for professional level teams, you can get a glimpse into what pro level League of Legends look like from the inside. No matter what you're looking for, you'll easily be able to find something that's going to help you improve, no matter your rank. Half crashing a wave into tower gives you a couple of benefits that I've already listed. It makes it hard for the enemy to last hit against their own minions, which can be seen by looking at the remaining health of these caster creeps. It also enables you to hold the wave further away from your opponent's tower compared to a traditional wave crash, as seen here, making it far more difficult for your opponent to walk up and last hit against you. But what it also does is it protects you by taking away the biggest risk you face when playing up so far in the lane. Let me explain. In the 2023 mid-season patch 13.10, a change to minions was implemented called Tunnel Vision. Essentially, once a minion begins attacking a tower, they will not change target, for any reason, ever. This was intended as a change to make it more risky for people to poke an opponent who is trying to farm under tower, since they can now easily all-in you inside of your own minion wave since your creeps won't turn to help you. But by doing a half crash, this interaction is completely avoided. Here, my minions haven't locked onto the tower because they're still focusing the newly arrived enemy minion wave, meaning that if Garen tries to take a fight against me, he'll be doing so while tanking 2 entire minion waves. Bringing us back to another replay of our favorite top laner TheShy, and you're going to see that sometimes he does a little bit of a different spin on his 3.5 wave crash. Now take note what he's doing right now. He is nuking this wave. We can't do a 3.5 wave crash because we're pushing too fast, but that's because TheShy this game is doing a 2.5 wave crash. On Gnar, you get your Mega Gnar form on the 3rd wave, meaning that if you do a 3.5 wave crash, you won't be a ranged champion anymore, and so you can't poke your opponent under tower. So instead we do a 2.5 wave crash so that when we crash it, we are still playing as a ranged champion and can still poke. This works extremely well because TheShy perfectly times the crash with the arrival of wave 3, and as Gragas, it is already extremely hard to last in under tower. With the Gnar poking us and with the cannon wave now hitting our minions, it's going to be nearly impossible, so Gragas forfeits about half of these minions here. Now on wave 3, TheShy is again going to crash the wave into tower, which will get caught on these casters, again making it hard for Gragas to last hit, and just pay close attention to Gragas' mana bar right now, and just watch it slowly trickle down. Now TheShy times it so that shortly after this wave goes in, wave 4 arrives, again making it impossible for Gragas to last hit, and just keep paying attention to Gragas' mana bar, and look at how many of these minions he's actually losing. Now on wave 5, Gragas is down to just 80 mana. We're essentially going to gain TP advantage because of all the mana that we've burnt, and the CS lead here is beginning to grow. Here, after just 3 waves, look at the CS numbers. Out of the last 19 minions in these 3 waves, TheShy has 17, and Gragas has only 9. Gragas has missed the last hit on over 50% of minions in this lane so far, and we've completely drained his mana bar. Gragas will either be forced to base, get more mana, and TP back to even have a chance to last it under tower, or have to last it under tower without using any spells, which as we've seen so far has been literally impossible for him to do even when he's spamming his abilities. But TheShy's adaptation on Gnar to do a 2.5 wave crash is something that is taken directly from a different role, that's mid lane. In mid lane, the lane is much shorter than it is in top or bot, which often means with that less space, it is hard to prevent your wave from crashing for long enough to do a 3.5 wave crash, so we do a 2.5 wave crash instead. Another reason for doing the 2.5 wave crash in mid is due to champion all-in breakpoints. Now most melee champions have an all-in breakpoint of level 3. Qiyana, Fizz, Zed, and Akali, for example, all feel much stronger taking an all-in with their level 3 compared to with their level 2. By doing a 2-wave crash, you are crashing and poking under the tower before this level 3 breakpoint is met by your opponent, meaning you have a higher chance of poking your opponent out and winning the lane before they ever hit that all-in breakpoint. This is the key to winning versus melee mids, hyper-aggressive early play before they hit their breakpoint, and with a 2.5 wave crash you can do exactly that. Now the elephant in the room here is junglers. This 2.5 wave crash lines up almost perfectly with a jungler's 3 camp gank timer, which we can see demonstrated in this video taken directly from my Patreon, link in the video description by the way. The timer for a 2.5 wave crash is about 223. Most junglers finish 3 camps and gank mid at around 230, leaving us not much room for error here. But this can be easily avoided by either placing your own ward and hugging that side of the lane while you poke onto tower, or by having your own jungler sit behind you for a counter gank for about 10 to 15 seconds. As you can see, it's with coordination like this that a jungle mid duo can be incredibly dominant in solo queue. The final bonus for 2.5 wave crash though is a great one, because it takes away all of the risk in doing it. Doing a half wave crash into tower will cause the wave to begin slow pushing back into you, which against a melee mid laner who has just hit level 3 and achieved their all-in timer puts you in an extremely safe position where you can sit back, relax, and just let that wave come into you, completely avoiding their potential for a solo kill around this timer, if you didn't manage to poke them out under tower enough with your 2.5 wave crash that is. And finally, this bouncing wave also puts you in a position for a freeze if you're strong enough to maintain it, that lines up perfectly with your jungler's full clear timer. This places you in a position where you're safe if the enemy jungler decides to full clear into gank, whilst your jungler has a kill just waiting for them after they finish their crab. Now I want to preemptively answer a question before I see it show up in the comments on this video. Aren't we missing out on a ton of tower damage if our creeps aren't hitting the tower? And why is a half wave crash better than getting an early plate? Well, as a reminder, mid and top towers take only half damage before 5 minutes, meaning that it is almost never worth trying to get tower damage in mid and top before this time. The damage you deal to your lane opponent will always be more valuable to you in top and mid. But what about in bot lane? What do we do there? Well, the short answer to that, we don't half crash waves into tower in bot lane. For the long answer, I have an amazing video I recommend you go watch right now. How T1 took bot tower in just 7 minutes. It's one of the best videos I've ever made and features the best bot lane in the world, so go and give it a watch. Just remember to subscribe to my channel before you click off this one. And as always, thanks for watching.